Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dylan James. If this is your first time here, I'm a mindset coach that loves to focus on relationships. Before we get into today's live stream, remember that life is not happening to you, but happening through you. When you become change you seek to experience, you're going to experience that change everywhere you go, and you're showing the world how to treat you based off of the identity you're in, the perception you're forming, the behaviors you're forming, the narratives you're perpetuating in your mind and persisting in, and the example that you're setting. Today, we're talking about being audacious in love. And this has been obviously a topic on my channel, even in posted oh my God, there's like little floaties everywhere. I can see them in the camera. Even in recorded videos that I've been posting. And obviously, I just did a subliminal, a nightly meditation, a daily meditation for starting your day off being bold, audacious, going after what you want, normalizing being seen, normalizing your body normalizing, receiving what you want, being seen, all those good things. So I hope you guys enjoy those meditations, especially the daily meditation. I really made it more obviously upbeat with the background track. And again, this aligns with a lot of things I've been saying lately, which is taking these topics and integrating them into your day in a way that is fun. So when it comes to meditation or whatever you're doing from a mindset perspective, it doesn't have to be that stereotypical kind of like super zen, let me like silence my mind and stop all my thoughts. I've always found that, first off, for me personally, the most effective meditation practices are usually more where I'm doing repetition, belief work, rather than trying to silence and observe my thoughts. And you can do that in so many different ways. Habit stacking when you're getting ready in the morning. I specifically made it a morning meditation to help you start your day off in that energy. And obviously, you can use it outside of the morning. But, if you need some regrounding, if you want to just like pick back up, maybe something occurs and you're feeling a little bit off, that's a nice way to kind of shift back into that mindset. But again, the intention here is to take these topics and make them fun, make them enjoyable, integrate it in a way that you actually like. So I do have some more morning meditations, shorter meditations coming out. There are still some nightly recordings that I want to do, but I think I've covered a majority of the topics that I want to cover. I've seen some people ask for meditations that are just like 3 affirmations so that they get more repetition. I just don't want to flood my channel with like so much content, because I think right now I'm putting out like 4 videos a day. I do like 3 meditations and a talking video. Yesterday I took a little bit of a break just because I was like feeling a bit exhausted, so I needed to take a step back for myself. But today we're going to be talking about being audacious in love. Tomorrow is Valentine's Day, so for those of you that have Valentine's plans, I hope you enjoy your day. For those of you that do not have Valentine's Day plans, that is okay. Do not beat yourself up. Don't use this as an opportunity. Well, let me say this. Every emotion that we have is valid. So if you're feeling sad, I totally understand that. Having a desire for human connection and closeness is a totally human thing. I do not think that we are designed to be alone. So having wants and having desires is not a bad thing. This reminds me of a comment somebody actually left on my channel, which is, don't put the word want within your affirmations because it indicates lack. And I hold a completely different opinion on that. If we hold beliefs like it's normal for me to have what I want, it's normal for my wants and needs to be met, a part of that is we are going to form wants and we're not going to beat ourselves up about it. But our sense of stability and sense of self, our self-esteem, our confidence is not dependent on whether or not we have that thing currently. We just know that we can have that want fulfilled and we can fulfill ourselves in the meantime. So we don't want to fear having wants. There's another topic I want to talk about today too when it comes to like negative thoughts and not fearing that, but we'll get into that later. If I don't bring it up before we end this live stream, please somebody in the chat, if you're here the whole time, remind me, because it is a good topic. So again, it's okay to have wants, and it's okay if you feel sad, if you desire connection, if you don't have Valentine's Day plans tomorrow, and it's tender for you. I think that just shows to you that, yeah, you know what? You're human. You value closeness, connection, of course. And let's process those emotions, but then also realize you want to be your own Valentine. I know that sounds so cliche. Okay. I don't want to, I don't want to dismiss or invalidate like the experience of having another physical person there, right? And when that's not there, that is obvious. But a central message on my channel is realizing in order to really create a healthy, and this is a key word, a healthy, because anybody could walk out right now and manifest a toxic, chaotic relationship. That's really not difficult to go out and be with somebody you're not fully attracted to, get stuck in like unhealthy patterns and be spiraling all the time. That is, and even manifesting a healthy relationship is not difficult. But that really starts with the relationship you have with yourself. So if you are spending Valentine's Day tomorrow alone, process whatever emotions you need to process, but then also think about this like, how can I be my Valentine? How can I fulfill my wants and needs today? How can I design a day that is actually enjoyable for me? And maybe I do need to add in some belief work to keep myself from spiraling out over this. But let me fully show up for myself. And what if that were me, what that would look like is I'm going to wake up, I'm going to have a ritual for my day. So I'll do like my nervous system regulation, do a grounding meditation, really take the time with my skincare routine, make sure my bed is made, make sure my environment is clean and organized, really creating a sense of stability around myself, and then designing a day with activities that I actually enjoy. For me personally, that's going to the gym, that's eating healthy, maybe going out for a walk, like even I like to paint. There's other little activities that I enjoy as well too. Listening to music, like I would design my day in a way that just feels good for me and meets my own individual wants and needs and sets that example of a healthy relationship with myself. So that's what I hope for anybody that is does not have a Valentine's Day tomorrow. Please don't use that. Don't look at that experience as evidence that you're not going to be able to create a relationship that you desire, that every Valentine's Day is going to be the same. It's another year where you're alone, which again, I can understand that thought process, but we also have to realize our brain is looking at experiences and then using them to reaffirm our identity. So at a certain point, even though something is physically going on, in order to elevate above it, we have to stop identifying with it. And that's where showing up for yourself and doing the things I'm talking about here really helps with that. So let's get into today's topic. Okay. Being audacious in love. This is not anything new on my channel. I want to say this too. I had my like little bit of caffeine today, matcha. I know I've talked about like not drinking coffee and stuff like that in the past, but my little caffeine boost today is definitely helping for today's topic because I'm just in that vibe. I'm in the vibe of one, again, being audacious with what we want and showing up and claiming it. Like I talked about in my recorded video, right? I'm going to take opportunities. I'm going to put myself out there. Success has no choice but to materialize in my life because I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to keep showing up. You cannot ignore me. And that starts with yourself, right? Really looking at your day and being 100% across the board and the little things that you want to procrastinate on and the little behaviors that you know need to change instead of just pushing it off and saying, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. Oh, it's okay. No, it's fine. Really, really becoming aware and saying, you know what? I want a life where I get exactly what I want. And I'm noticing that I'm showing up in ways that I don't want. So I want to set the example that getting what I want and getting 100% is my consistent experience. I'm going to start with myself. I'm going to set that standard with myself. And if that feels difficult, that's also where belief work is really useful. That's really where nervous system regulation is really useful because some of these things that you may be doing, you may be unconsciously doing because they help you regulate. So that could be things like distractions, right? When we are scrolling all day long, we're actually using that distraction to escape from what we're feeling. And so, a part of breaking some of these things and changing them is making that deliberate choice in the moment. Oh, look, I'm scrolling again, or I'm avoiding this. Let me do some nervous system regulation to regulate myself because clearly something is going on where I'm avoiding something that I know I want to adjust. So let me regulate myself and then let me ground myself in a meditation that empowers me to show up to overcome these things and to step into a version of myself that gets 100%. I'm going to be that person for myself first, right? So we're going to be audacious like that. But then when we're looking at love too, you guys have heard me talk about this on my channel before. I'm going to sound like a broken record here today, but I'm going to also use myself as an example when it comes to love about, again, we're going to just keep going at this topic. You don't have to settle. And I was talking to somebody recently where they were using the example that what they want is very rare. So they gave me an example of, I'm not going to go into details, but so many dates that they had been on and all these things when it came to their dating life and having discernment and knowing like what they don't want. Okay. But essentially, they summarize it by like getting what I want is very, very rare. When I look at the statistical probability of how this area of my life has shown up, which I love that. I love the thoroughness. Let's go there. Okay. And I'm going to say this, you want what you want to be rare. I know that sounds a bit redundant. Okay. You want what you want to be rare. And rare doesn't mean difficult to achieve. I'm going to put a different meaning to that, although I understand rare in essence would mean that it's rare. But that comes down to the relationship you hold with yourself as well, too. I'm going to put this here. My opinion on manifesting has not changed. I don't know why people think my opinion on manifesting has changed. When you can get into a state of being congruent with what you want to experience and you're in an identity that matches that experience, you can hold a knowing on something and it will unfold. So anybody that thinks my opinion or I don't believe in manifesting, that has changed, it has not changed. A key thing though that I've talked about in my content is before you go in the direction of something specific, take the time to mentally and emotionally stabilize yourself. And then from that vantage point, move into a state congruent with what you want to experience, hold a knowing, and do whatever you want. That's really what it all boils down to, is knowing something into being, right? When it comes to rarity, though, okay, I know there is so much dating advice online. I know there are so many people telling you guys what to do. We covered this in the Manifesting Your Desired Relationship video. You don't have to change yourself. You don't have to, in the sense of like putting yourself in really awkward positions or getting on dating apps that you don't enjoy. You don't have to like become somebody that you're not, is essentially what I'm saying here. But we do want to assess and see, are there ways that I've shown up that are unhealthy? Are there beliefs that I'm holding on to that are unhealthy? Are there ways of operating that are getting in the way of me being able to sustain the experiences that I want? And what example am I setting? Am I setting the example of somebody that gets commitment, respect, love? They set a standard, they rise up to that standard, they set an example of excellence for themselves. So that's what they're going to get. I think that's really important to assess. So let's think about this though. Okay. Rarity. Because some of you may feel, and I've seen people literally in like some TikTok videos say, like, this is the percentage of men in population. This is the percentage of what I would be attracted to. This is the percentage of them that are single. These are the percentage of them that I can communicate with. Like, some of you will go to depths to defend your belief system and provide examples as to why you cannot have what you want. And then you wonder why you're not getting what you want. Think about that. If you spent all that time and energy that you invest into providing reasons for why you cannot get what you want, to the point where you are being statistical with it, you're sitting down, you're writing numbers and percentages, and then you're rationalizing and logicking to yourself that you cannot get what you want, how are you going to get it? One, you've already defined that as true for you. But two, the act of doing that, you are embodying and materializing behaviors that reaffirm this. But again, this is a time thing. How can I get what I want if I'm entertaining what I don't want? I only have this moment. So what I'm doing in this moment is creating. And if I'm using every single moment to research and reaffirm and build a case study around why I cannot get what I want, that is a part of the problem, because I could be using that time embodying and being somebody that knows they get what they want and sets that example. Everything is connected in that sense. And I talked about this a long time ago. I believe the video is called Creating Seismic Shifts Within Your Reality, where I said, like, in every moment when we make different decisions, we align to different timelines, and you will see if you are very intentional with how you design your day, the belief system that you're in, as you make different decisions and go in different directions, things will align and manifest to match where you're operating. Okay. And that is a natural thing. So, again, my opinion on manifesting has not changed. I don't know where this narrative came online from. I think it's because I encourage people to have standards and not to accept a BS and go after toxic people. That's just my opinion, because why would you settle? If you are in a belief system and you've had experiences that are not that great, you don't even know what is possible. You could be chasing after something that is actually below what you really want to experience. And you don't even know that because you've never actually experienced it yet. So that doesn't mean that I don't believe you can get what you want, you can't manifest. I want to make sure that with what you're going towards, you have a full picture perspective on what you're doing and you're very confident with the decisions that you make, and you realize you have options. Options is not a bad thing. Okay. So, anyways, back to rarity. Okay. You want what you want to be rare. Again, I know that sounds so redundant, but if I just wanted to go out and be in a relationship with somebody I'm completely unattracted to that didn't treat me well, like you could walk downstairs outside today, run into a stranger, like pursue them and make that happen, right? But if you want something, if you really want to be deliberate with your life, of course, that means there's going to be an aspect of specific rarity to it. I'm being very deliberate with what I want. Beautiful. Good. That is a good thing. You want to be deliberate with what you want, but we want to make sure we're not within a belief system that says this is unachievable. And we also want to make sure we're a version of ourselves that matches that desire. So let me explain this because this is very important. If I want a healthy relationship, but I am unhealthy in how I show up for myself, I'm not going to be able to maintain a healthy relationship because this person that operates in a healthy way is not going to fuck with you. Okay. That's the simplest way I can put it. When you start acting in unhealthy ways, accusatory, whatever may be coming up, insecurity, self esteem issues, whatever, okay, attachment, whatever. I'm saying this from the vantage point that you can change this, but we're just being very real about why it's important to make sure you're in a version of yourself that matches what you want to create. It's very defeating when you get something that you want and then you unconsciously sabotage it or you can't maintain it and sustain it. That is why that's important. Does that mean you have to be perfect, 100% healed? No. Nobody is ever going to be perfect, 100% healed. Even in a healthy relationship, that is a part of what makes it healthy is the discourse, right? We have challenges that pop up, misunderstandings, mistakes occur, but you're within a regulated, healthy belief system that allows for you to communicate in a healthy way. Excuse me, to work through something with somebody and overcome it together, which strengthens the bond. But we need that component of healthiness there first. Otherwise, doing that is going to be very difficult in and of itself. Okay. So, rarity is not a bad thing. You want your specific desires for a reason. If somebody was like, no, actually, you can't have a black car with red interior because that is too rare. That is unachievable for you, right? Like give up on that. You'd be like, but no, that's what I want, right? Of course, I'm very going to be very specific and deliberate with the things I'm putting time, energy, and money into in my life. I want to customize it in a way that I fully enjoy. So that makes rational, logical sense. We can have rarity with maybe physical things. You want a very physical, like style or items, car, whatever, right? The same thing in relationships. That is okay. It is okay to have a type. It is okay to have, and you should have like very clear definitions on the value system somebody operates from, the belief system they're within, maturity level, emotional availability level, financial level, like that is fine. Okay. And anybody want that says like, don't be judgmental, like find me a saint on the planet that is not forming judgments and saying this is what I like based off of like my preferences. Okay. Should we put people down that are outside of our preferences? No. It's just this is my preference. You're beautiful in your way or whatever you're doing, but this is what I personally prefer. That doesn't mean you are unworthy, good or bad. And I think that's the key differentiation here is some people take their preferences and then put other people down because they don't match those preferences. That makes you messed up in my opinion. Okay. So moving past that point, we want to have preferences. We want what we want to be rare. Now, we want to be within a belief system that believes we can have that and shows up in a way that can sustain it. So think about this too. You want somebody that is there, that takes care of themselves, that commits, that is honest, respectful, loving, consistent, right? Then you have to look at yourself. How are you operating? Are you operating with yourself in that rare way? Are you being genuinely consistent with yourself? Are you being genuinely honest with yourself? Are you being genuinely respectful with yourself? Are you showing up for yourself 100% in the way that you want other people to show up for you? Or are you sitting here cutting corners on yourself, excuse me, your own wants and needs, and thinking that a relationship or person outside of you is going to be the thing that comes in and saves you and makes you feel better? So you get to avoid certain things within yourself and not show up for yourself, but then you get to put a standard that anybody that comes into my life has to show up these ways, but I don't have to. I can cut corners. No. Okay. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm not sitting here to put limitations on anything. And again, I'm not saying you need to be perfect, but you need to be realistic and understanding that, again, if you want somebody that operates in a particular way, a respectful, committed, loving way, but you're not respecting, committing, and loving yourself properly, and we can only show up, we show people how to treat us based off of the example that we set, and we can only accept from another person what we are willing to give ourselves. Realistically, now we're at a crossroads where things are not making sense, right? Because long term, sustaining that experience is going to be very difficult. On top of that, when you don't have a healthy relationship with yourself, healthy self esteem, when you haven't taken the time to really regulate your nervous system and ground yourself in practices that build you up, you're going to intrinsically be operating in more insecure ways. Your sense of self invalidation is going to be dependent upon people around you. So, rejection, problems, challenges are going to hit a lot harder, and that is going to be where this rarity thing becomes an even bigger problem because and again, I'll use myself as an example in a second because I'm only going to speak from experience. But, you know, can you create specific desires? Absolutely. In my own personal approach, I've really learned to, like, yes, I have persisted, I have created specific results and really turned situations around, even in past relationships, a lot. But I've gotten to a point where it's like, I am very, very clear on the quality characteristics that I want. I know my type. I know the lifestyle I want to create. And I know that that is achievable. And there are a lot of attractive people that could fit that. So if one particular person that I'm attracted to that has all these quality traits, maybe it doesn't work out, that is not going to fuck me up mentally and make me think I'm never going to get what I want because they are not defining what is possible for me. I'm not approaching it from a scarcity standpoint of this is rare, and if I don't get it from this one particular person, I'm never going to have it. And so that has allowed me to approach dating in a very light, fun way where if something doesn't work out for whatever reason, it's not messing up my self-esteem. It's not making me feel like I'm never going to get what I want. I can just brush it off. Okay, it just didn't work out. Whatever. It's normal for me to get what I want. It is normal for me to get commitment, love, to be with somebody that matches the character quality traits that I desire and has similar lifestyle to me. It's normal for me to get that. So I didn't need you, one particular specific person, to show up, love me, and commit to me to know that I can achieve that. But also at the same time, operating that way, you will find, again, because you're not chasing after anybody and you are willing to just be like, okay, goodbye, people, that's where things really manifest very quickly. And you'll have opportunities really coming in or people changing their mind and turning around and actually coming towards you because that's you living in the end of that example, that identity that it is normal for me to get what I want. So even if people try you, even if people switch up on you, even if they pull their energy back, which if we're thinking about a healthy individual, you should not be experiencing any of that. But for whatever reason, if that does occur, maybe There's a circumstantial thing that goes on with family, friends, whatever, job. So they just have to pull their energy back because their personal life is calling for that from them. But your way of handling the situation, because it's not a scarcity approach, you will find that those opportunities don't go away. In fact, the way you handle it, the way you respond to it, only makes you more attractive. And then on top of that, now you're just like, well, I got options. Okay. I'll entertain other people. I'm not going to wait for anything. It's normal for me to get commitment, blah, 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 whatever it is. Okay. So when it comes to rarity, yes, you want what you want to be rare, to be specific. Do not waver on that and do not let anybody on this planet convince you that you need to be with somebody you're not attracted to. You need to be with somebody that has character quality traits that you don't like. You have to be with somebody that is shady, doesn't commit to you properly, that you should just be happy because they do these things over here. You should be grateful for that, even though there's all this over here that you're unhappy with. You do not have to settle. Please listen to me on this. Okay. And again, I'm going to use myself as an example. Y'all know that I ended a relationship last year that I was in for 5 years, and that person changed their whole career, changed their whole life. They went through a lot of growth to be with me. There was a lot of things that I overcame and persisted through, and I had very, very specific results throughout that entire relationship. I got to a point though where I just realized from an evolution standpoint, and for both of us, even though we grew so much, there were just certain things that I really specifically wanted, different lifestyle choices and preferences that I just realized, you know what? It's okay. I really appreciate this experience that I have with this person. I'm very, very clear on what I want. And I'm going to actually use an example of my life right now to illustrate this point on rarity. So I'm going to be very vulnerable in this live stream to show you why being audacious is important and why not settling is important. So I'm going to say back in probably 2023, okay, I was living in the Washington, D.C. area with my partner at that time. They were in the military. And I had a conversation with them where I said, hey, look, I really care about you. I support your career goals. Like I wouldn't, whatever you want to do with your life, I'm here for you. I even moved to that area to support and to be a supportive partner for what their career goal was. So I made it very clear, like, I want you to have a life that you enjoy doing things that you're passionate about. However, at the same time, I'm realizing for myself personally, I want to travel. I want to be in Southeast Asia. I very specifically said I want to be in Southeast Asia. I want to be able to go to Europe. I want to be able to go to like the Middle East. I want to be able to go to Africa. I just want to be in that area of the world. And I want to be with somebody that can travel with me in that manner. And I was just being very honest, not like you need to change your life. I just said, so I just don't know if we're compatible in that sense. And this is a conversation that we just need to have. Okay. So, anyways, fast forward, obviously, I decided to end that relationship. Okay. And there's quite a few reasons. I'm not going to get into the reasons of that, but one of the main things was a clash in lifestyle. Okay. They did end up leaving the military and changing their career, but that was because they realized they were not happy in that environment as well either. So even in that, like I didn't, from that perspective, specific results came in, but overall, it just happened to be that I realized that there was something more I wanted within a relationship. Okay. Fast forward to now. Okay. So I came to the realization I really wanted somebody that was doing like understood nervous system regulation fully, completely like understood belief work, applying it, which my previous partner, even though they were aware of my channel and everything going on because of their career and how enmeshed it was with their life, they do much of that, which is fine. Okay, that is fine. That was their personal preference. I wasn't going to force anything on them, but I really wanted somebody that, again, really actively participated in nervous system regulation, belief work, was well traveled, had that mobility, and a few other things as well too. Okay. So I decided to end that. I was single for a month. And I had no real intention of starting another right away. I was so fulfilled. So from a manifesting perspective, what had occurred was I came to the realization that I was no longer happy within that relationship and there were things I wanted more. I had to walk away from that relationship from a self-respect standpoint. So I fully embodied somebody in that breakup that does not settle and gets exactly what they want. Even though, again, like I could have proceeded forward and stayed within that relationship. I fully embodied somebody that does not settle. It's normal for me to get what I want. I was already in the gym for 2 to 3 years, eating routines on point, gym on point, even though the breakup, like no breakup is ever going to be enjoyable. Okay. But the way I handled it was relatively stable. Okay. From a feeling state standpoint, I really, even though that had occurred, okay, I was able to get into a place and ground myself in routines and move my feeling state into fulfillment, love, joy, freedom, self-respect. Was not looking for a relationship at all. Okay? Not on any like I think maybe I did download like a dating app for a little bit of time, but that was just like I just wanted to see who matched with me. Okay. I have been single in so long. So I just wanted to see like who's gonna match with me. Like what's out there. But I didn't use it like seriously. Okay. I think that was more just like a like, let me use this a little bit to just mm, like I still got it. Okay. Anyways, aside from that point, I was single for a month and I ended up meeting somebody in the most random way, somebody that actually had used my content and slept with my affirmations on for years and had screenshots of me on their phone and my meditations on their phone and literally every single thing that I wanted down 100% my type, nervous system regulation, belief work, well traveled. We're not living in Southeast Asia. We're traveling the way that I wanted to in that conversation that I had back in 2023. So I formed a desire and awareness of something that I actually wanted, and I fully embodied somebody that does not settle. I didn't have to go out looking for that relationship. I didn't have to try and make it happen. There was a rarity, 100% a rarity in that. Again, somebody that really fully understands these topics, regulates their nervous system, does belief work, and is able to 100% my type, physically 100% my type, able to travel the world with me and explore with me and has that type of mobility. You want to talk about rare? How many people can do that? Okay. Not only that, like mm, personality type, physical appearance type, checked every single box. Did I go out and look and try and make that happen? No. Was I desperate to make it happen? No. Was I in a place of grasping or looking or trying to make it happen? No. I had even in that month, I had quite a few people that approached me. I went out on some dates just for fun. And the moment I saw something I didn't like, and I would only go on a date if it was 100% for me, like I'm 100% physically attracted to you. Yes. Okay. Even when I saw something I didn't like, I didn't use that as evidence of like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able to create a relationship. Everything became very light for me because my sense of self was not dependent on anything outside of me. And I think because I really handled that ending of the previous relationship in that very grounded, self respecting way, it served as evidence to my mind that I can and I deserve to respect myself, my wants and needs, and I don't have to settle. So maintaining that way of operating was automatic. And from that vantage point, things happen very, very quickly. A lot of synchronicities, a lot of things aligning to where now I am literally living the life that I wanted, that I formed a desire around and had a conversation around back in 2023. Okay. So that is my personal example as to why you don't need to settle. Because again, and you shouldn't. You should be very, very clear on what it is that you want. But then make sure that you are showing up that way for yourself. Because I guarantee in my own personal experience, if I didn't take care of my body that way, if I didn't regulate my nervous system, if I didn't do the belief work, if I was not showing up for myself consistently, if I was not setting that example for myself, and I was, it still am, but really at that time was extremely on point. Y'all have seen the physical transformation that I've gone through. Eating on point, not slacking anyway. Workouts on point. Meditations, like everything from how I was organizing myself was on point. So I was always feeling good. I was in that state of being of fulfillment because I decided for myself that is what I get. And when you're operating that way, you're not sitting here waiting for a relationship. You're not sitting here waiting for somebody to love you. You're not sitting here waiting for somebody to text you. You're not sitting here wondering whether or not you're going to be able to achieve what you want. You're being it. You're being it for yourself. And that is where things will manifest very quickly, very, very quickly. So I hope what you take away from today's live stream is you realize and you really look at your life and see, where am I settling? Where am I not being audacious? Where am I cutting corners? Where is my sense of self and validation externally dependent? And how can I form a relationship with myself where I 1000% show up for myself and set the example, that consistency, respect, love, commitment, because that's what I did. I 1000% committed to myself. So much so that walking away from somebody that I had a 5-year relationship with, okay, that's a considerable amount of time. Okay. I was fully committed to honoring myself, even if it meant I had to do something that was difficult. But at the end, what did that get me? It set that example for me. It really locked everything into place. And I aligned to a version and a reality that permitted that experience, not only with myself, but physically in my day to day life. I had to set that example first. So, some of you, when you're going through this change, the reality is there may be certain people or environments you have to walk away from because it does not align with who you have become and what you're creating for your life. And that's where you have to really not care about people's opinion, not care what people think, not care about what people gossip. I had so many people gossiping about me and the decision I made. I don't care. Nobody has the full perspective on the situation that I did. So I don't need people's approval of me or their opinion of what I'm doing with my life to give me permission to be who I want to be, create what I want. And trust me, a lot of people had an opinion. I'm online. I have like 160,000 subscribers. Okay. But that is not going to stop me. No one's opinion outside of me is going to dictate my life. You can speculate, you can judge, you can gossip, you can cackle, but at the end of the day, who is living the life that they want? Because this is exactly what I wanted. It's exactly what I want. And I'm telling you, if you are somebody that wants to create these changes within your life, when I'm talking about nervous system regulation, belief work, showing up for yourself, not caring about what anybody thinks, being able to say no and walking away to set that example, that is how you're going to create the life that you desire. Life is going to rise up to you to the standard that you genuinely hold and you genuinely embody. So that goes to belief work. When you're doing belief work, if you're saying it's normal for me to be respected and loved properly, but then you're in situations where you're not respected and loved properly, once that belief sinks in, that means you're going to need to embody a version of yourself that does not accept this experience anymore. There has to be, when you guys are doing affirmations, it's you're not just looping statements in your mind. You need to think about, okay, I'm accepting these beliefs, I'm taking this on. What does that actually look like? And doing the belief work allows for you to step into that version of yourself. Because trying to fake it till you make it, and it is really, in my opinion, not sustainable. I've said in a lot of content in the past, when you are faced with circumstances, your automatic perception and reaction is going to tell you exactly where you are within your belief system because it's automatic. So you can fake it till you make it all you want, but once you get into actual circumstances and you have to really, you're just responding automatically, you're going to find that breaking those patterns becomes extremely difficult because your body is quite literally driving you towards them. So saying no, you're going to feel scared. You're going to be like doubting yourself. You're not going to follow through with it, even if on a conscious level, you know, I don't want this anymore. I want to change this. That is why belief work is important, because doing that consistent belief work in the nervous system regulation is going to be the tipping point that allows for you in those moments to be like, absolutely not. I'm not accepting this anymore. I'm setting the standard that I get exactly what I want. I'm setting the standard that it's normal for my wants and needs to be met. I get real respect and commitment. And I don't care if you don't like that because I'm walking away. Do better. And also, on top of that, now we're going to add this to it because you really pissed me off and you tried me. Okay, I'm just kidding. I'm just being funny now. But to keep going with that energy, I'm not going to be in a scarcity mindset. So you played with it. Now you got to worry about other people too, because I just might entertain somebody else because I don't have to sit here and wait for what I deserve. This is independent of specifics, but you will see that does create specific results for you. So the last thing I want to end today's live stream on is, please do not be afraid of having negative or intrusive thoughts. I've seen and I know like this is not a new topic, okay, but I've seen people that say like, I'm afraid that my negative thoughts are going to manifest. So let's talk about this because, excuse me, we cannot say you need to persist in something new for it to manifest, but then say when you have negative thoughts, don't worry about them if you're persisting in them. But in my opinion, okay, when you're having intrusive or negative thoughts, if you're addressing them and you're doing the belief work, it is unrealistic to expect yourself to just like completely change right away and not have intrusive thoughts anymore. So there has to be a level of compassion with yourself and space that you create for yourself to grow. And as long as you're addressing it, those thoughts will lessen, lessen, lessen. You start forming new awarenesses and you'll go in a new direction. You have to trust that within yourself. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have a perfect mindset 24/7. The other thing here, too, is when it comes to intrusive thoughts, negative thoughts, you do not want to create an environment within your body where you feel fearful of your thoughts and fearful in your body. So, again, you don't have to be perfect. That is number one. You don't have to be perfect. But when it comes to these things, if you're having negative intrusive thoughts, okay, let's say it's day one and you notice it. I would not be worried about it manifesting or creating in your life. Okay. Again, you don't have to be perfect, but I would become aware. I become aware. Oh, okay. What's going on here? Like, what is getting triggered within me? Where is this actually coming from? What needs to be adjusted? Okay. And I would start to adjust it. But let's say you don't do that, okay? It takes quite a bit of persistence, in my opinion. And really, the thing that is the tipping point for this is when you marinate in negative, intrusive thoughts, it starts shifting your perception. And now your brain is going to search for evidence to support these thoughts, which means, let's say you're having negative, intrusive thoughts about a particular person. Maybe you're having a sabotage cycle come up. What that means is if you let that stay there, what's going to happen is you will then start to search for evidence to support these thoughts. You're going to change in how you're acting around them. You're going to project these insecurities, intrusive thoughts, or whatever they are onto this person. And that's where it starts creating a mess. Okay. You don't need to sit here and be like, oh my gosh, it's going to just like pop into my life and it's completely out of my control. You have to see there's a level of persistence that needs to occur here. And then it starts affecting how you're showing up and interacting with people around you. Okay. But it takes quite a bit of persistence. So the first time you have negative intrusive thoughts, or if you're having them for like a day or two or a few days, don't sit here and be like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna mess up. I'm not gonna be able to create what I want. First off, you don't have to be perfect. Second, just become aware of it and start addressing it. And know that as you're addressing it, it will go away. It's not going to become a problem. But don't put this unrealistic expectation on yourself to like have a perfect mindset and to never have an intrusive thought once you start addressing it. It's a gradient like effect. So you have to create that space and know, okay, I'm having these thoughts. They're uncomfortable. I don't like it. And I don't want to experience that. But I'm also addressing it. And I know that as I persist with what I'm doing, these are going to go away. It's not going to be a problem. So even if they're popping up right now, I am handling it and I'm addressing it and I'm creating the space for myself to grow. And I don't need to worry about that. That is the space you want to be in when it comes to intrusive negative. To this here is you need to discern too, are they valid or are they irrational? Because not everything belief. So again, you're hyper. I talked about this in the intuition video. Your brain, you are so intelligent, your brain is processing things quicker than you can consciously recognize. So some of the thoughts you may be getting may be your brain has picked up on something unconsciously and is trying to bring it into your attention like, hey, this is maybe something that should be concerning. And you have to really look and see, is this valid? So like if somebody is an absolute kind of trash person and they're acting in rude, disrespectful ways, and I'm getting intrusive thoughts that they're rude or they're going to do something that is hurtful to me, that's a pretty valid, probably pretty valid intrusive thought, not a limiting belief, right? It makes logical sense. This person, let me give a very specific example. Let's say you have a friendship with somebody, okay? You're somebody's friend, and you see that in all their groups, they're hiding things, they're lying to people, they're taking advantage of people. So now you have physical, circumstantial evidence of deceitful behavior. And then you start looking at the friendship you have with them and you start getting intrusive thoughts. What if they're doing something deceitful to me? What if they're lying to me? Is that an intrusive thought? Is that an insecurity? Is that illogical? No, it's not. Because if you have the capability to treat other people that way, that is your identity. You're a deceitful, distrustful person. So for me to sit here and have thoughts about are you going to operate in the same way with me is not a illogical, intrusive thought. But then you need to look at that and see, one, why am I surrounding myself with people that are deceitful and distrustful? And two, how am I going to set an example that if for whatever reason, like maybe I have to be around this person because they're in my workplace, okay? Whatever the reason may be. How am I going to set an example that says maybe you get away with that with other people, but with me, absolutely not? How am I going to set that example? And that could be very confrontational and to the point. I see, and all you can sit here and try and deny this, sir, woman. I have seen you lie to other people, be deceitful, be act in distrustful ways. So I'm just letting you know I see that. Okay, I see that. We don't need to debate it. I don't need an explanation. I'm really not trying to get into an argument. Okay, it just is what it is. No, if you do that with me, it's not going to be good because I'm not the one. I will take it there. Okay, so let's be respectful. Let's be mature. Let's work with each other. Let's understand one another. But just know, I see you and I understand. So let's be cool with one another. Straightforward. That is setting that example. And somebody like this is about this is the difference between reacting and responding. You guys need to understand this when it comes to manifesting. You're setting an example. So a reaction would be, oh my God, this person is going to operate in this way. I'm scared. I'm fearful. I'm disempowered. I'm silencing myself. Or I am accusatory, emotionally reactive, not able to communicate in a healthy way. And I react in ways that are chaotic. Okay. That creates more problems. Responding, one may be, I'm setting an example because I'm a version of myself that doesn't have this experience. So I'm not even going to respond to it because it's below me. And the non response and removal is the setting the example that I don't accept this in my life. That is, we understand each other in so many different ways. Removal of time, energy, and focus is a message. The second thing is clear, concise confrontation in a mature, regulated way, not beating around the bush, getting to the point, and not arguing with somebody or trying to convince them your point of view. That is that grounded self-esteem and belief system that creates for you. So there's multiple ways you can handle things, and you want to be within a belief system that doesn't say, like when I see that online of like stop reacting to the 3D. Okay, yeah, there's going to be certain moments where it's like this is just so below me. Why am I even going to give this my time or energy? Because I'm not even somebody that identifies with this type of experience. Me giving it a response or reaction is actually inviting it into my life. But then there's going to be other instances where it's like, absolutely not. I need to set an example here. I need to respond to this as a version of myself that says this is unacceptable. And when you do that, this is the key difference. When you do that, you do not make the effort to explain. You just call things out, very to the point, and you remove your energy. You let it be known that you know what is up and that you will handle things if they need to be handled. Okay? So I just want to make that point. But when you're having intrusive thoughts, also discern, is this an intrusive thought or is this a logical worry? Because not everything is, oh, I have limiting beliefs. Oh, I need to adjust this with myself. It could also be, I'm really intelligent and I'm picking up on things before they occur. And this is my opportunity to make sure I set an example and put myself in the position to not accept something into my life that I don't want. Okay. All right. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Okay. Make sure to put a like on the video. I really love all the comments that I've been getting on my new uploads as well too. And I would love to hear if you guys don't mind in the comment section just writing a little comment about how belief work mindset has really helped you, just so that anybody else that may find this video can look at the comment section and just see how putting these principles and practices into play impacted your life in a positive way. You don't have to give the credit to me. Okay. So you don't have to say, like, because of Dylan, blah, blah, blah. Just writing very plainly how doing mindset, nervous system regulation helped you so that people can become more aware, talk about these things, and embrace these topics from a logical way. Last thing I want to say is I do have one-on-one sessions available. They're on my website. I have one slot open for monthly coaching. I just closed out a previous client and it went so good. I'm so excited to see the review that they leave because they came into the coaching and by the end of the month, like our last meeting, they're like, I really don't have anything to say because everything I wanted to achieve, I achieved. And it's like massive, massive, massive growth. So I love the monthly clients because people that can really show up to that serious and apply themselves. I don't play. I put you on a routine. We adjust your meditations if we need to. We are doing check-ins. It's a really, really beautiful accountability challenge, but month together for growth. So if you're interested in that, I have that up on my website as well too. Other than that, I hope you all have a beautiful Valentine's Day tomorrow, whether you're spending it with somebody, whether you're being your own Valentine. And until next time, stay safe, stay loved, take care of yourself, and I will see you all later. Love you. Bye.